Hi, it's Emily with the Stitch House at So Dallas. We are going to be getting started in about 5 minutes. We're going live today with Bernina. So if you have any questions about Bernina, post away. I will try to answer your questions in this live demo today, but we're going to get started in just a few minutes. All right, stay tuned.
So now you guys just get to hear everything we do behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm debating. I think they have to call us if they want one of these. Okay, tell me if you can see it.
I can see you.
We just got these in, and I grabbed 3 before our live gets started. Okay, stop.
Only good vibes. Look at those cats.
Look at those
Come
cats.
a little closer. They can't see those cats. Oh my gosh.
Is that the cutest thing ever? Sewing room, and then it says only good vibes, and it's little kitties. This is Sarah Watts, so she's one of the designers for Ruby Star Society. We got a few of them, and I think I selfishly got them all because I'm going to put them. Emily, you may not know this about Emily, but she is also a master framer. She has she has a lot of hidden talents that you guys don't know about, but I was going to have her frame these for the store. Okay, look at this one. Sea Reaper. I just think that's so cute, little kitty. And then this one is one we all need right now. Everything will be okay. And so these are really cute little prints. These are 5x7s, and then this one is an 8x10. I think they look really cute matted up.
I have a few.
You have a few. I think they look so cute. We just got them in, so we're gonna hang them up in one of our little areas in our sewing room here. But is it time for you to start, Emily?
I don't have a watch. You know what? Let's just say it probably.
I think it is.
I think it probably is.
Let's do it. Okay.
Okay, can you see me, Jessica?
Yes, I
All
can
right.
see you.
So again, thanks for already tuning in if you are here. But just to reiterate, we are going to be doing a Bernina live demo today. So I'm going to talk to you about one of our favorite machines in the store. Hopefully you've already seen our Brother demo and our Janome demo. We're going to tell you today why we love Bernina. Okay, so this is our 790. These are the machines that we have in our classroom. So every time you come to Stitch House to take a class, this is what you sew on with the Bernina guide classes and the Make-A-Take-Its. So in this Stitch Club, we've got a huge display screen, okay? And something that's unique about Bernina is that the screen is right in the middle. Just like the Janome we saw yesterday, the screen is front and center. And we have got all kinds of space to sew. I took my slide out tray off already, but you do get a slide out tray with the machine, and you have a lot of room to sew. I'm gonna put that to the side. So, with the Bernina, there's a couple great features that we really love that come standard on most Berninas. One of the things is the full shank feet. So unique to Bernina, you have full shank feet. They are hand tooled, hand crafted, hand polished, and hand inspected individually coming right out of the warehouse. So they're really, really nice quality feet. Am I in a good place there, Jessica? Yeah. So what that means is that you're gonna have a really nice connection with whatever you're working on, and it's fully secured. So great quality, full shank foot that you don't have to kind of mess with the sole plates, and you can change your foot with just one hand. So I'm gonna be switching, yes, it's cool. I'm gonna be switching feet a couple times today, and you'll see how nice that is. On the 790, you actually have a dual feed feature. So I can engage my dual feed really easily, and I can disengage it and get it out of the way. But on some of the Bernina models, especially the 790 that we have in our classroom, it has the dual feed. So you're going to be able to basically have that upper feed dog system to help pull your fabric layers through your machine evenly, which is really great. It helps reduce any kind of warping or slipping that your pins might not catch. And I'll show you one of my favorite quilts that I have a little bit later, and you'll see exactly why that's so important. So the full shank feet and the dual feed is a really great feature that I love from Bernina. The engineering and the tooling on all of those pieces are really, really secure. If I get that out of the way as well, I've got my stitch plates that pop right off. So I can show you how easy it is to switch between my 9mm decorative stitch plate that comes with your machine and then the straight stitch plate. And I can pop those right in really easily, so I don't have to worry about any kind of screws if I want to clean in my machine area. So you always want to make sure that you keep your area clean because there's your thread cutter down there that we'll talk about as well. And you've got a lot of moving pieces that you want to make sure stay clean from lint. I'm going to put my decorative stitch plate back on because I have a lot of really cool stitches that I also want to show you in just a little while, so I'll put that back on there. Okay. Now, when you come into the store and you sit down in front of a Bernina with me, usually the first thing that I show you is the jumbo bobbin. So I'm going to show you that next because it really is a wow feature. I can open my bobbin door, and with the Bernina, you get a front load bobbin system. You don't have the drop-in bobbin. You've got room underneath here for a huge bobbin. So I can pop that right out and check out that bobbin. Can I see it? Should I
hold it up a little bit? Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is 70% bigger than any other bobbin on the market. And I'll tell you, I used to air stitch all the time whenever I'd run out of my bobbin. I don't do that anymore. In fact, these sensors will tell me when I have 25% of thread left on my bobbin, and I can usually still go for hours, even when it gets down to 25%.
That's a lot of bobbin thread,
Emily. It's a lot of bobbin thread. So I love that feature. It saves me a lot of time that I don't have to be winding my bobbins when I'm quilting or embroidering or sewing.
And only on a Bernina.
Only on a Bernina, because where would you put it? A drop in, where would it go? So that's something that I love. I've got a really great bobbin case that pops right in. Something pretty basic that is on a lot of newer machines, but I still love it, so I have to point it out. My thread will cut at the perfect length, so I never have to bring my bobbin thread up. So I can just start sewing, and it's going to sew for me. I've got my sensors in here for my bobbin door too, so I always want to make sure I keep those clean as well. And I can close my door up. You'll also notice I have a really nice free arm, and I'm going to show you something way, way, way cool later with the free arm for embroidery, so stick around for that because I've got a lot of really cool things for the sewing side, but once I get to the embroidery side, I'm going to blow you guys away, okay?
She really is. She's been doing a ton lately.
Okay. So, that's kind of just a little bit about the feet, which I love because one-handed, I don't have to find any screwdrivers or lose any of my little sole plates. One-handed, I can switch that, and I can engage my dual feed. I can change my stitch plates without ever having to look for a screwdriver. So I love that. I also have my easy access buttons right here. So I've got my thread cutter handy. I've got my presser foot lift, and I can also do that a couple other ways too. And then I've got my start stop button. So when we head over here to the screen, I always tell people, again, I know Jessica, she said don't be intimidated at a machine of this size because really when we look at this screen, everything that we love the most and that we use on a consistent basis is right at our fingertips. So I can go through my machine and get to different things, but everything that I'm going to use first for basic sewing is right here. So you can see I've got my stitch length right here. Jessica, we might want to get a little closer for the screen for the next couple of things I want to show them. So you tell me, wait, good? Great. So I've got my stitch length right here, and on some other machines you kind of have to just press one button at a time to adjust your stitch length. I love that I can really quickly adjust my stitch length with my easy turn knobs right here. So I can go from my standard and I can clear it back to default if I want to. I can always get back to default, which I can still tinker with my stitch length here, but I love that I can get exactly where I want a lot faster with my turn knobs. And then I can go to my Zig-Zag Stitch and I can do the same thing. So right on the screen, really quickly, I can see exactly what my stitch is going to look like. And if I'm toggling back and forth between stitches in a different project or in one project, I don't have to constantly readjust my stitch length or my stitch width. My temporary memory in my Bernina machine will remember everything I'm doing in the sewing session, so I can just go right through there. See, when we head back to our straight stitch, it saved my settings for me. I don't ever usually have to change my tension or fix my tension. I can do that, but I never have to with the Bernina. If you'll notice up here in this corner, I've got my adaptive thread tension, so I can click on any of these stitches and this number will change. So if you check that out, it's changing the tension for every single type of stitch that's built into the machine so that I never have to worry about that. And in just a little while, I'm going to show you my creative consultant that goes even further beyond that. This is kind of geared towards like your standard cotton fabrics, but I'm going to show you the creative consultant that goes beyond the tension and the settings that you're going to be using. There's a lot of really great security features built into this machine. So if I tell the machine that I have a foot on there, it will make sure that if I've got, say I've got a zipper foot on there, it won't let me do a straight stitch. It will force me to move the needle position. And then if I tell it that I have my straight stitch plate on there, it won't let me do a zigzag. So I'm going to show you a few of those things later too, but those security features are really great as well so that you're not breaking any needles or damaging your machine. Okay, but this is where I can select that, and Bernina has a whole slew of feet that are perfect for different techniques. And you can see as I go through here, there's stars. So the stitch that I have selected right now, it's going to recommend some of its favorite feet that I might want to use. And I can kind of pare those down up here, and these are all the favorite feet. So it might have some suggestions for what stitch I want to use, and those are really great features here. But I can always ask my machine a question if I don't know what some of these feet do, if you don't have the big book of feet.
I was just texting Lisa to bring us a big book of feet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's going to become a joke around here. Emily just loves the big book of feet.
This is what I was texting Lisa. Can you bring us a big book of feet?
So absolutely, I don't say this because
Emily loves it.
Well, and yes, I'd love everyone to buy a big book of feet, but I don't tell you this because I want everyone to buy one. I tell you because it is literally one of the best resources we have in understanding the most we can get out of our feet that Bernina offers. We can get different techniques if we are looking, if we already have a collection of feet, because I know we do, maybe the technique that we want, we already have a foot that'll do that. As collectors, maybe we want to have them all, but we might already have the foot for that.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Were you bringing us a big book of feet? Oh.
But I can ask, if I don't have the big book of feet, I can ask the machine a question. I can always select the question mark and say, okay, what is this foot? Because all the pieces of metal might eventually look the same anyway. So that's the corded foot, the one that I happen to select. And it tells me what the application is. So I can ask the machine questions throughout any process, but this is one example if I'm trying to pick the right foot for my job. And maybe I'll just skip around just a little bit. Maybe I wasn't going to get there there yet, but I'm going to talk about the creative consultant as well.
Let me get a good picture of the screen.
I am still primarily a quilter. I do a lot of quilting, and I'm getting into garments and I'm getting into embroidery. But we're lucky at the Stitch House that we have a lot of great resources to ask questions. But if you are in a situation where you can't call us at the store and you want to learn some things from your machine, there's some great opportunities for you. So I already know that in my creative consultant, I've got my lightweight wovens up to my heavyweight wovens, and that's because I've used this a little bit and it's pretty easy to pick up. But if I didn't know that, I could ask the machine a question. So I'd press the question mark and I'd select this. And that's going to tell me if I have an application where I want to do a heavyweight woven, which would be a tweed, a canvas, an upholstery fabric. So that kind of gets me on the right track. So if I have one of those fabrics, I can select my heavyweight woven, and now I have some options here. Maybe I'm doing a straight stitch, or a blind hem stitch, or a buttonhole, a zipper. So those are some things where if you've sewn in the past and you have some experience where machines don't automatically change the tension for you, with different fabrics you might have to do some testing. The creative consultant gets you in a really good position that you might not have to make that many tweaks. Okay, so if let's say blind hem stitch. So I want to do a blind hem stitch on my heavyweight woven, and the machine will tell me exactly what I need to do, what stitch I need, what type of needle, what type of thread, and what foot I want to do. And going beyond that, I can say, okay, machine, let's set it up. And it changes my tension for me. It changes
Whoa, that's cool.
my foot. It changes my needle position. So if I listen to what the machine has told me, it even changed my presser foot pressure. That's way cool. So I'll put the right foot on, and now I'm ready to sew for my heavyweight woven and for that blind hem stitch that I'm going to sew, and it's really going to be perfect. I'm going to go back to my straight stitch and clear that out, and now I'm going to tell it that I'm going to change the foot, right? Because I told you about the security features. It won't let me do a straight stitch down the center of my machine with that foot. I can move my needle position, and now I can, but it's going to remind you if you haven't changed something to go for that. So I'm going to put my settings back to what I had on here. I've got my 1D foot, so I will select that.
No, go ahead.
Jessica just moved the mic, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me some more. And I'm going to put my foot pressure back to default, and my needle position back in place. So if I head back to my creative consultant, there's some other really fun things that you can do here. So you can have leather or vinyl, you can use faux fur. Again, any of these things here, you can always ask the machine a question. So it took me a little while to try to think, like, Bernina, what do you want me to do with that bathrobe? It's faux fur. So the creative consultant is really great for me because I am primarily a quilter, and I can learn a lot more things to get my fabrics perfect for what I'm doing. There's another consultant in the embroidery side that can help you a lot as well. So again, beyond all the classes that we offer and all the events, sometimes you need some more help with your machine, and there's great resources built in for you. Your creative consultant is one of them. Your tutorials, let me X out of that. Your tutorials built in are another, as well as the question mark that you can ask anything. So if you don't have access to your experts, you've got a lot of good information on the machine. All right, so in my stitches, I've got a lot of utility stitches, and we've already talked about the thread tension. Another really cool thing built onto the 790 are multi-directional stitches. So one of my favorite stitches, if I head right over here to the crosshairs, and I have to switch my foot. So this is another feature where Bernina tells me, get rid of your dual feed, and then I'll show you that stitch that you can do. So I've got a really wide decorative stitch, and if I zoom out, that's what that's gonna look like. So you've got a whole slew of decorative stitches built in to your machine that the feed dogs will actually go side to side and backward and forward.
Are you showing us that?
I have the foot here. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Okay. You know what? We've got time.
We got time.
We've got time.
Show us that. It's such a pretty stitch.
So I'm going to use my 40C foot. And this is an example, like, this foot doesn't really look much different from other feet, but this is the one we want. It's the only one that will do a sideways motion stitch. So I've got my decorative stitch plate on. I'm going to tell it I've got my 40 C-foot on, and it already knows. So I've got that wide decorative stitch, and it already knows this is the foot that I want to use. It's the only one it'll let me use. So again, I don't have to bring up the bobbin, and I can just use my start stop button here.
Hold on 1 second. Let me readjust.
Oh, we're readjusting.
Hold on, readjust my the comments. I'm not as good as Brittany. Sorry, guys. Hold on.
So this would be a little easier if I did have my slide out tray, but we'll be fine, no problem.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead, Emily.
Okay, so I'm going to start that up. You can see on the screen what it's taking us through. And I'm going to get that out of the way for us. But this is live, so we're good.
You can see it perfect.
So just like any other stitch, I just want to loosely guide something like this. Look how beautiful that is. Yeah, it's going side to side, forward and backward. Can you imagine all the different ways you would use something like this?
Bags.
Lots of bags, yep.
Bags for sure. On the edge of jeans.
I would do something like this for garments for sure. Okay, so now, again, this is the simple things that Bernina does so well are the reasons why I love it so much. So again, there's other models when I press the thread cutter that I just wait for the foot to come up, and I forget that it doesn't do it. If I cut my thread, it'll lift my presser foot for me.
Let's see that stitch.
And then I've got a really nice decorative stitch right here.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
So you can do all kinds of things with the sideways motion stitching that are built into the machine. And there are some that are less elaborate. Are you on the screen up here? Mm-hmm. So any of these folders that have the crosshairs, so even something like this, you can get a really nice wide curved satin stitch. Beautiful. So any of these are built in, and those will do the
that's fun.
Stitching. And check this out.
Yeah, that one's really cool.
These would be really great for quilting. So any of the ones that have the crosshairs are built in there. If we want to check out, not the sideways motion stitches, but if we want to check out just some standard decorative stitches, again, we do have 9mm for the standard stitches, which are going to give you a higher impact for those. But something that's really cute that's only on the 790 and the 880, I can take any of these existing stitches and I can change them. So if I head to my stitch designer, I've got my kind of perfect little tulip here, but I actually want to do a little tweak. I want him to be a little bit...
Stop it.
I know, he's a little spunky
He's
now.
Sassy. That's a sassy tulip.
I've got a sassy tulip. Another thing I can do, maybe I don't want it to be totally symmetrical. Maybe I want to, you know, bring one of my leaves up a little bit. I can do that. So now I've created, from something that's already built into the machine, I've created a new stitch. So that's very cool. And I can do that with any of them. And I can say, okay, let's stitch that out. And I've got something totally new.
And unique.
And unique. So if I wanted to head to my straight stitch, maybe I want to do something brand new. So again, this is the stitch designer that's only on the 790 and the 880. Now I have an area where I can create something new, and I can go to a new template here. And I want to snap to grid because I want it to be a little bit more precise. Now I do want some precision. So I can drop some points, and maybe I want to make a spool of thread. Let's see, and I can go down and over, and I can go these directions. And now
it's just a pill bottle.
Well,
that is so cool, Emily.
So I can make a spool of thread stitch right before your eyes very quickly.
No way.
Yes.
Totally.
So I might tweak that. You know, that was really quick. I probably could do a lot more to this. I could give some spacing to it, but if I was ready to stitch that out, I could.
That's cool.
And let's see what it looks like.
Yeah, why not?
Let me change my foot back to my 1D.
Tell them what kind of needles you're using, Emily.
So I've got the Chrome Floriani Schmetz needles. A lot of people think that they need to use a specific needle for a Bernina machine, but the Schmetz needles are really great. They've got the clearance that works with the needle threader really well. So these last a little bit longer than some of our other needles. So I can search for my foot. I want my 1D. I'm gonna engage my dual feed. And let's see what this spool of thread looks like. Oh, you know what?
What?
It's telling me that the way I've designed it, it's actually gonna move back and forth, so it doesn't want me to use the dual feed. Sometimes it's smarter than me.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
These machines have legitimately become smarter than us. That is so cool. Oh,
there was a fly on my nose.
I know, there's like a little gnat flying around here.
Let's do my pattern end, and it'll finish my stitch for me. Okay, that's pretty cute.
That's super cute.
So if you have say you're doing a quilt and the fabric is pretty crazy and it's got a certain motif in it and you want to highlight something from that fabric that you want to create your own stitch for. Maybe you're stitching down the binding, or maybe you're kind of doing some decorating on there. You can create anything you want with the Stitch Designer. So that's very cool. Lots of options on there. You can also take any existing stitch and make it a triple stitch.
That's also really cool.
Yeah, easy, really easy. All right. There's more that I could show you on Stitch Designer, but I'm going to move on to something else now. Let's see, let's X out of here. I'm not sure what that's going to be just yet. Oh, yes, I do. I know what it's going to be. So I've got my 1D foot on. I've got my dual feed. I've got some really awesome stitches. Also have 11 alphabets built in. But my buttonhole, this is something that people really love. I don't know the days of sewing buttonholes today.
Oh, I do.
Jessica does, because she's been doing this for a little while. But these buttonholes on the Berninas are so, so cool.
It was horrible.
I can select my buttonhole stitch. I can head to my information, so on my editing screen. And if I want to, I have this yellow circle right here. And if I use my knobs right here, it'll actually let me hold up my button to the screen, and I can measure my button perfectly. So it'll give me 2 more millimeters for the buttonhole, but I can hold that right up to the screen and get my perfect button. So I talked a little bit earlier about the temporary memory that the Berninas have. They also have a personal program that you can permanently save anything to your machine. So if I have 100 buttons that I'm not going to sew them all on today, maybe I'm going to sew them later, but I've already measured my button, I can permanently save that to my machine and always come back to it. Another thing that I love saving to my personal program, if I have a certain size blanket stitch that I use over and over again, or if I have used my combination mode to do my lettering, I haven't talked about that, but maybe I have a quilt label. Do you want me to hold this?
What? Yeah, you can if you want.
Okay.
Hold on. There you go.
Okay, I've got the mic now. So maybe I have a combination mode lettering, a quilt label, so I can do all kinds of things to save to my program to make it easier to retrieve later. But the buttonhole is pretty special. The buttonhole foot, where's the camera, Jessica?
It's in there.
So the buttonhole foot's also very easy. You can measure on here, but why would you with the Bernina on the screen? And then you can also do corded buttonholes. You might be able to see these little inserts here. So I can do a really nice professional corded buttonhole very quickly and easily on the Bernina. And I think when we talk about looking professional, Berninas have a really, really incredible stitch quality that, in my opinion, just doesn't compare.
No.
You know, no other machine compares to Bernina stitch quality, Swiss engineered precision that you're going to get from one of these machines. Okay.
You don't have to hold it the whole time. I'll hold it again for you when you.
Oh, that's okay. If we're focusing on the screen, then we can do that. I don't have to worry about what Jessica would tell me it looks great.
It looks great.
So those are some of the features that I really love on the sewing side for kind of the basic screen operation. I'm going to show you the stitch regulator though. So I'm going to give the mic back to Jessica. If anyone here does free motion quilting and they have practiced over and over and over, they know the struggle of getting consistent stitch length. So that is something on a Bernina that this stitch regulator comes standard with it. And what this does, there is a sensor built into the stitch regulator. This plugs into my machine. And most of the things on this machine, it will do it perfectly because it's a machine. But when we start talking about free motion quilting, we ourselves are guiding the fabric. We're moving our quilt sandwich and we are not machines. We can practice, but we can never super, be consistent with our stitches. So this actually takes our speed and adjusts the stitch length in accordance to our movement. So it makes it perfect stitches every single time. Let me plug that in and I will show you a little bit about that. So I'm going to disengage the dual feed and take off my 1D stitch, or my 1D foot. If you come into the store, sometimes I totally forget about the stitch regulator because I know it's just so common with the Bernina, but it really does stand the machine apart from other brands. I'm just so used to it and I love it that sometimes I forget. So my machine's going to tell me to drop my feed dogs down. So in my stitch regulation screen, I have a straight stitch or a zigzag, and I also have two different modes. I'm going to go to mode 2, and I'm just going to start sewing. Again, I don't have my slide out tray on, but we'll work with it. That'll be fine. So, are you in close, Jessica?
Yeah.
So I may adjust my stitches. I'm not going too big because I don't have my tray, but you can see how nice that would be when I'm doing free motion to have my stitches consistent.
What stitch length do you have it at, Emily?
I've got it at 2, and that's probably a little bit big if I'm doing small stippling. I probably want to make it a little bit smaller so I get really, really nice rounded curves, but I'm not planning this out. So let's see if I make it a little bit bigger, if I do a little bigger movements. And so I can go a little bit slower. And I do need my tray, but we're winging it. So I can.
That looks awesome.
But the stitch regulator is really fun. I'm going to have Jessica hold that still, and I'm going to get a sample that I did. A lot of you have probably seen it.
Show and tell time.
Okay, so we'll go from a distance and then we'll go up a little closer. So everything on here, all of my stitches are regulated on this sample. So I've got my pre-cut applique and I've got monofilament. So I used my stitch regulator, my DSR, to go around all of these pieces here with monofilament. And I've got a really nice consistent stitch length, even though, I am having to pause and start and stop and kind of go around some irregular shapes. My stitch regulator helps me out with all of that. And then with my ruler work, I brought it over to the Q20. You can get regulated ruler work stitches as well.
It looks really good.
Do you want to see it closer?
I'm zooming in on some of the pieces, like like right there. Like your little scissors and stuff. That looks really good.
So that's something, in my opinion, when we do free motion, I always tell people just keep going. If they wobble a little bit or if they budge, just keep going. But the Bernina stitch regulator really helps us out a lot with our stitches. And it looks like we've been practicing for a really long time. Okay. Jessica's really great at pebbles.
No.
Yes, she'll tell you. She's great at pebbles.
I'll tell you, but I won't show you. It's the only thing I've ever practiced, Emily.
So that's something that automatically recognizes the stitch regulator whenever we plug it in. And I can put that away. But I'd love to show you about this more in the store. The stitch regulator is really, really great. You may not be able to see it clearly from a demo like this, but this is a really, really great feature that is exclusive to Bernina for the stitch regulation. As far as sewing goes, I have shown you quite a lot. I think I'm going to take it over to the embroidery side, unless you've had any questions for sewing.
No sewing questions. We have an embroidery questions when we get there. Do any of you guys have sewing questions that you'd like to ask Emily? She has lots of answers.
Oh, I'll do another show and tell.
Okay, do another show and tell first before we start. We love show and tell. Hey, Brian, do you want to jump in on this live? Too late. All right, show us what you got.
Okay, so this is a little bit of quilting that I've been doing with the walking foot, and you can see how nice the stitches are. Jessica talked about her love for Floriani thread. I love Isacord. Really, they're pretty similar products. Isacord has a little bit less sheen, but this is silly. One thing I really love about it isn't anything to do with the quality of the thread or the color or the sheen. It's really just the packaging. So this packaging to hold it in my thread just snaps in place. So some of the other ones just have a different system, or it might be a part that comes apart. This is just one unit, and I like having all my threads tidy. So that's kind of a big deal for me, even though it doesn't really reflect in the performance of the thread.
Did you quilt that with Kingstar Metallic?
No, I didn't. So normally I do use like an Aurifil cotton for my quilting, but because this Ruby Star Society speckle has so much metallic in it, I decided to go with the Isacord. Again, it's a polyester thread, so a lot of people use it mostly for embroidery, but you can use it for your piecing, your quilting, and your embroidery, and that's what I used here. So I've got like a gold-ish color Isacord thread, and it looks pretty nice with this fabric. So that's another show and tell, unless there's any questions that we have on a sewing side.
Nothing so far.
Okay.
This next part is like Emily's new love.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Oh, what was the name of that quilt, Emily?
Oh, okay. So it's not finished quilted yet, but I will hold it up for you if you want to see. Where are we? Right here? Am I in the
Yeah, you're good right there.
Okay. So, not finished yet, but this is the Clava quilt by Miss Make. She works with the ladies at Ruby Star Society, and she's got some great patterns that she has out. If this is something that you'd like to order, you can call the shop and we can figure that out for you, no problem. But it's a small little baby quilt. It's really nice. You get some curved piecing practice, and you can make it bigger as well. So it's the moon phases, which is really, really cool.
So cute.
It works really well with the gradient. And I sewed the top in just one day, and I could have done all the quilting, but wanted to save my back for all the work we've been doing here.
Okay, so I think this next part coming up is super cool. And I'm so excited for Emily to show you it because you can't really do it easily on any other machine.
Nope.
So, and Emily has a new love for embroidery, so this is all Emily.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of set up my machine for embroidery. I'm gonna pop my decorative stitch plate off, my 9mm stitch plate, and I'm gonna put on my single stitch plate. I'm going to really easily snap on my embroidery foot with just one hand. It's a full shank foot, just like all the rest of them. And let's see, what else do I need? I'm going to head over to my home here, go to embroidery, and it's going to tell me to put my feed dogs down. And I have a little caution sign here. It knows what foot I want, but it knows I haven't told it yet. So I'm going to head over here and say, yes, that is in fact the foot I want. I'm going to switch my needle plate out to my 0mm, and I'm good to go. So this is one of the designs that I am going to show you. On the 790, you get a lot of really nice embroidery space. There's a couple hoops that come with the machine, but I really love the maxi hoop. So I'm going to show you, this is the embroidery field that you're going to get on the 790. The 880 has a little bit bigger space as well, but this hoop can be used on both of them. I'm going to show you this really cool feature in just a moment, but this is what I have on the screen here, the size. So what Jessica's referring to of what I've been falling in love with embroidery, I have this design that I purchased from OESD. They do really beautiful digitizing and really beautiful designs. So I've got this Moscow Mule towel, and it's a recipe towel. Let's be real, I don't need anyone to tell me what to put in Moscow Mule.
No, she doesn't. Actually, Emily has the best homemade Moscow Mule recipe of anybody I've ever met. She's a master.
The key is the entire full half lime.
And the lime squeezer.
Yes, you have to have a lime squeezer to get every drop.
That I now own because of Emily.
So, if I want to, on any other machine, if I wanted to crop out or just only stitch something, I'd have to either lie to the machine and just not stitch the rest, or I'd have to take it into digitizing software. So I am a really terrible millennial. I am okay with computers. I just haven't taken the time to sit down and really learn my digitizing software. I still need to talk to Trevor about that. Wink, wink. Luckily I don't really have to, because on a Bernina, on the 790, all of the top of the line embroidery machines, the 590, the 790, and the 880, I can ungroup my designs. So a really basic feature that I love that you can't do on any other machine, I can take my design, I can slide right down here. Oops. Let me back up a little bit. My fingers are getting a little bit too ahead of myself, which this undo feature is really great too. You can't do this on some of the other models of the Bernina. It's just undoing an action. So I'm going to head down here, and I can actually ungroup my design. So there we go. Can you see all the layers that I have now? So I can actually pull any of those things out and totally get them off my design.
This is totally a reason to go up to a 790 or an 880 if you have a different Bernina, right, Emily?
Totally.
Like, because you can only have this on the 590, the 790, or the 880, right?
Yes.
So if you're working with like a 770, do you have this option?
You don't have this option. You have to take it to a software. So really quickly, I can see I've got some words right here. Oops, uh-oh, sorry y'all. I can go back to my edit screen. I've got this. I can select this design. I can go to my trash can, and those words are gone. So now I've got this cute Moscow Mule thing. Again, I just want the drink. So I can select that, and I can delete that one out, and I can delete this one out. So now what I'm left with, if I go down to the bottom of my design, I've got my perfect Moscow Mule mug. It's really cute. And check out how sweet these are.
Isn't that fun?
So I've got my Moscow Mule without any of the other recipe words. I've got my pina colada and my margarita.
I love those.
So this is a really easy, you know, if I don't want the whole collection of recipe towels, but I want some napkins, I can quickly stitch these out in an afternoon, and this is a great gift. Hopefully my sister's not watching this one. So I've got some really cute napkins. I've showed some other ways in the store that you can group and ungroup, just to get the designs that are already built in and existing to be more what you want them to be. So that is one of my favorite features, the fact that you can group and ungroup. But if I wanted to add something else back, I always have that option too. So I can press my plus sign, I can maybe go, again, we're kind of improv. I don't know why I would do anything else to this really perfect design, but I can. So if this was for my sister and I wanted to put her name on here, I still have the capabilities to add to my design. And I can move that around wherever I want. And maybe I want to try it at the bottom. That looks fine. Maybe I want to try it at the top. You know what, I actually liked it at the bottom better. I can just undo, and it's right back down to where I had it. So, you know, we always do a lot of really intense, like meticulous placement when we're editing on our machine, but just like a little, you know, bump of the screen, you can kind of mess up all your work. And I really like you can undo and redo on the 790 and the 880.
Someone has a question, Emily. Can they import their Floriani thread to be their main type of embroidery thread in like their master library on this machine?
You can. So that is something I usually kind of wing it whenever it comes to my thread, but let me show you the thread chart. So because this is an OESD design, I can go to my thread here. I've got all my isocord right here, but there's a couple different things I can do. So these are the threads that are built in for that design. If I wanted to go to a different brand, I can select here, and at the top here it's in alphabetical order. So if I want to go back, I've got Floriani right here.
You do? Oh my gosh.
So again, I haven't gotten into it a whole lot.
That's cool.
Oh,
sorry, I keep moving the camera.
you can get your replacement. So, and again, if I had a design that was from Floriani and I wanted to have it converted over to isocord, I've got my thread charts in place here.
Okay, so they're all built into the, is that in the 790 and the 880? Is that in any other ones that you know of?
I'm pretty sure that is also in the 590.
Okay, that's very cool. They just came out with that for Brother like last year when they came out with the Luminaire. So they didn't have a ton of thread charts built into the machine. It takes up a lot of memory in the machine. So there's entire programs dedicated just to doing thread conversion for people. So that's really cool that it's built in.
That's a really good question. Something else that you can do, since I do kind of wing it with my coloring, I've got options here. So if I wanted to change my colors, even though this Moscow Mule was perfect, if I wanted to change my colors, I could go to my color wheel and kind of.
Oh, that's so cool.
I can audition some different. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool too.
That's fun.
So I could audition some different colors right in the program, and I've got this nice big screen that I can see it really well.
What does the bottom button do? Does that make it like more or less like gradient?
Yep. So if I get to a color that I like, then I can kind of change the value within that range.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. I haven't played around a ton with that, but it is definitely an option that you can have on there.
I love that.
And then back in edit, I've got some other, basic features that are on a lot of machines, like repositioning, sizing. But I want to remind you how cool these easy knobs are. So if I'm going to select just the whole design at the bottom, and I want to reposition it, I can make that smaller that way with my turn knobs. And if I want to rotate it, I can really easily and quickly get to a place on my design that I want with my knobs here. I've got my pinpoint placement on all the top of the line Berninas, so you can get really nice placement even if you don't have a camera. So another thing that you're going to be able to do, besides the group and the ungroup and the redo and undo, something that you can do on a Bernina that you can't do on all machines is embroider with the free arm. So remember that we've got this nice free arm here on the Bernina, and we've got our embroidery arm. These are things that can work really well together. So baby onesies, right?
Are you putting that Moscow Mule on a baby onesie?
Well, my nieces, we'll have to talk to my sister.
That's hilarious.
My nieces are 4 and 8.
I don't think so.
They're not in baby onesies yet. Anymore. Yeah, my sister has said that she doesn't want any more kids, but maybe she's been spending a lot of time at home right now. I don't know. But we always have some trouble with the baby onesies, and I'm going to show you how easy it is if you, let me backtrack, because the Berninas are particular. If you put a hoop on the machine when it doesn't want it, it's going to just tell you to take it off. So let me get to my smaller hoop, and I'll put like a letter in there. So if I wanted to start over, I can just go to my file folder, and again, I've got built-in designs, and I've got from my USB. So we can select, we'll do a J.
A J.
Yep.
I am not having children anytime soon. Quarantine has not gotten to me.
We've got our medium hoop, so I can see where that's going to be.
Tina says that free armor is invaluable for onesies and for toddler-sized t-shirts. Do you agree?
Absolutely, I'm about to show you.
It's awesome.
Awesome. A lot of people who love their other machines, for some reasons, we also love them. Same reasons we love our other machines. They'll still have a Bernina machine just for this option. So I'm not going to be too concerned about placement or if I'm going the right direction. However, whenever I'm ready to stitch, I would just come to my needle here, and my arm will adjust and move for me. I've had a couple calls recently about people saying my machine's acting kind of crazy. I'm doing what it's telling me to do, but it's not listening. This option here, whenever I put my hoop on and when I take my hoop off, looks very similar. So just pay attention to what the screen is telling you and do what the machine wants. I'll be really happy. So right now it's telling me to put my hoop on. So I can do that, but before I do that, I'm gonna slide my baby onesie under my free arm. So this is really,
so cool.
Really cool because, as we know with embroidery, we can't go through the back of, we can't go through both layers. So I've got my baby onesie around my free arm, and that's perfect. I'm gonna press my button here, and it's gonna kind of recalibrate and move. All right. So we'll see what happens. We're live. We don't have any stabilizer, but let's watch this happen, okay? So,
it'll be fine.
and I also have cotton Aurifil thread, but we'll be fine.
I actually like to embroider with Aurifil, believe it or not, because it doesn't have a shine to it. And they've since come out with other threads, like matte polyester threads. Oh, it's going to look real ugly because we don't have a stabilizer.
It's gonna be bad, but that's okay.
But
check it out.
We're going to teach you how to stabilize later this week, so.
Yeah, it doesn't have the right thread, but the point is that I've got a baby onesie. I didn't have to turn it inside out and do any kind of crazy manipulation. I've got a flatbed domestic machine, but I've got a free arm still.
Carol said you can embroider on pant legs then.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, so anything that you can take the hoop off and kind of show them one more time how you have that hooped up, and I'll try to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see. We're using a onesie as an example because honestly that's what a lot of our customers do. But anything that's tubular like this that you need to not embroider, like show them the back that it's not embroidered on. That's because it was hanging underneath. So anything tubular that you need to get into that's really kind of hard, you have that free arm system, so it's really simple. So show them how it goes on one more time, Emily.
Yep. So I just want to make sure that my onesie goes behind my arm, and I have a sweatshirt in the room too. You could do the same thing with the sweatshirt. So that fits right on the arm, just like that. Perfect, easy. And anytime that I need to recover a thread or go back in my embroidery design, Bernina does stitch by stitch, and you can see exactly where you're going or where you need to go back.
I love using those knobs.
I know, the knobs. When there's a machine that doesn't have the knobs, I reach, and then I just get a little sad.
Tina said it took her several tiny items to realize that she could flip her design and hoop it from the bottom instead of the neck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, look. We brought, we'll show them at the end. Thank you. Lisa brought us the big book of feet, so we'll show you that at the end because we have a nice package deal for this machine if you're interested in it. That's a really, really cool.
It's a cool feature because while we love the multi-needles, some people don't have room for that. And if they,
or some people want a sewing and embroidery machine and not just a big multi-needle, which we totally get.
And, you know, if you are a quilter like me, you still want the best, in my opinion, the best stitch quality. You want the stitch regulator. You want all the things that Bernina offers. Plus, you want to be able to embroider really beautiful stitches in ways that make things really easy.
That's awesome.
Another way that Bernina makes things really easy is part of their hoop system. So this hoop that comes with the machine and this hoop that comes with the machine both have kind of your standard turn mechanism for hooping. And I know that a lot of people, if they have to hoop their design and kind of slide it off the table to twist it, sometimes you have to try a couple times to get that perfect hooping. With the maxi hoop and the jumbo hoop, and there's a midi hoop as well, Bernina actually has a different system. So I'm going to slide this off the table just to show you. A little messy here. So what's really nice about this is that I can release the hoop really easily by just pressing these two buttons, and I've got my hoop disconnected. But if I'm hooping on the table, this is a totally flat system, so I can torque this and I can hoop my items back together. And I can get that really tight without having to pull it to the edge of my table. It's also not going to over tighten because it has the torquing system. I'm not going to over tighten my hoop. Bernina hoops might look a little bit different than other hoops. They're rounded at the corners instead of more corner shape. But you get a really nice secure hooping method that way. You get a stronger, you know, the round oval is going to hoop your item stronger than a square system would.
And the foot goes all the way to the edge.
The foot goes all the way to the edge because you have a full shank foot. Let me show you that. This is really important. Thanks, Jessica. Right? Because I have this type of foot system, I can actually get my foot to go closer to the hoop. So yes, maybe the hoop won't be as large, but your embroidery field is still just as large in most cases because I can go everywhere I need to go in my hoop. Especially when I'm designing on the screen, I'm always a little nervous because I haven't done it enough to, you know, be fully confident. I'm always a little nervous. I'm like, can I really get my design that far out of my embroidery field? But I can with this hoop and with this foot. All right.
Brian, do you have any things favorite on a Bernina you want to tell anybody about?
I love that tension hoop.
Yeah, Brian could
Here's
probably...
one thing.
Oh gosh, don't hijack Emily's live.
I promise Emily has not done for you, which is rat dick.
No, she just did it.
Watch her face when I do it. Do you see it? No, she cringes because she thinks I'm breaking it.
Brian can explain it a little bit better than me. But yeah,
You explained it just well, Emily.
Not to over tighten your hoop.
Right. It's a tension limiter, so regardless of how much fabric you put into it or how much you don't put into it, it'll only make it this tight.
It gives me anxiety too.
That's engineering.
That's engineering.
That's my favorite thing.
Well, we're going to talk about package too and everything. Emily, keep going. You're doing well. Sorry, Brian hijacked your.
Well, let's see for a second because I've shown you all of my favorite things. I've shown. Oh, if we go back to sewing, no. Yeah, I want to show you one more thing. Okay, so I've told you about my Moscow Mule mugs. I've shown you how we can do our onesies with the free arms. I've shown you how much I love the hoops, but mostly the features that I love in the embroidery are going to be my group and ungroup and my undo and redo, mostly because I just haven't, I don't want to invest in maybe my embroidery software, or I don't want to spend a lot of time on my computer when I'm sitting down to make something. So that's a real reason why I really like those features. I can do almost everything on the screen. But if we're going to talk about kind of the precision in sewing, if we go back to quilting, the dual feed where I don't have my fabric slipping and the scant quarter inch that I can get with my 97D foot are really some of the things that made this specific quilt really precise. So if you can see these seams right here, I have my blocks that have 1.5 inch strips, and I've got maybe 9 strips. So if I don't have my scant quarter inch, I'm going to lose a lot, and my pieces aren't going to match up. But I can get my perfect points here because I'm using my dual feed, and my fabric's not slipping, and I'm getting a perfect scant quarter inch. And I guarantee if I was making this quilt on any other machine, it would not be quite this precise. Quilting was also done on a Bernina long arm, so we'll be talking about that going forward, but definitely my precision that I get from my sewing doesn't compare to any other machine.
Hold the whole thing up, Emily. It's just so insane.
Let's see here.
Oh, I love this quilt. And it's just perfectly pieced too. And show us the back, because the back is cool. I love the back.
It's a lot of fun.
I bought that art gallery print in every type of, I guess, substrate it came in. Cotton, canvas.
And I just love this because by using the solids, you can really get the quilting and the design to just really be beautiful.
It's beautiful. That's a beautiful quilt. All right. What else do you have for us, Miss Emily?
Oh, you'll have to come in the store. I don't know if I have anything else today.
Do you want to tell them what's in the package that we're offering? Brian, do you want to tell them what's in the package that we're offering? He's working.
Together right now.
We're putting it together. So we're going to have we have these in stock, right?
We have the 790s in stock, yes.
Okay. And so we're going to be offering some really great deals for the 790s. And as soon as life resumes, tell them a little bit about what we offer when you buy the 790 from us.
So when you buy a 790 at the Stitch House, you get unlimited one-on-one classes. So if you are doing something on the machine at home and your creative consultant isn't helping you and your tutorials aren't, you can always call me up or anybody at the store and say, I want to schedule a one-on-one, and we can tackle the exact thing that you want to do. But you also get unlimited guide classes. So your guide classes that are, they're going to take you through cleaning and oiling your machine, using a lot of different features on your machine, setting up embroidery. You're going to be able to do all your guide classes with us, as well as what we probably is the most important thing that we offer. We do a Stitch Collective. So every single month you get a project-based class where you get to sew on the 790s that are in our classroom. You leave your machine at home, and we teach you project-based classes where you're going to keep learning on your machine, because even what I've told you today is just a small percentage of what this machine can do. And we want to make sure that you always know how to use your machine and keep learning things on it. So the Stitch Collective is great. Here's the big book of feet that Lisa brought over. This is, again, one of my favorite resources to tell you what you can do with all the feet that Bernina offers. And I'm going to tell you, if Terry was in the room, he would say that you don't need to keep buying feet when you buy maybe a different brand or buy a Janome. But let's be serious. We have a couple different hobbies, right? We sew, but then we also collect fabric. We collect machines.
I love that you listed collecting fabric as a hobby.
So let's be real. Those are two separate hobbies. We sew and we cut fabric up, but we also collect fabric.
Yes.
I honestly think that if I can have a tool that's going to do something really cool, I consider that as part of my collection, right? So being able to buy a new foot and being able to learn a new technique every once in a while, I think is really rewarding. You know, it doesn't have to all come in one package deal.
Okay, and buying a foot's like buying a drill bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, I'm not sure.
Poor analogy.
A poor analogy?
A drill bit?
It's a tool, just another tool.
Okay, well, Brian, how many drill bits do you have?
I have a lot, but they all came in a package, so I only have one. It comes in a box of 100.
Okay, I can't show what he's working on over there, but I'm terrified about what he's about to tell you for pricing. So, Emily, do you know what he's...
No, I haven't.
Okay,
No,
well,
don't show my...
I'm not showing them. I'm just...
Because the handwriting is not legible. What do you...
I've just got you. You can't see the board. Don't worry. This is the fun part of the live demo, you guys. Okay, Brian, hit us with it.
So we're doing something a little bit different. And what we're doing is we're going to be offering Sew Dallas gift cards that can be used at any time. Time of purchase, for a bundle down the road, bank it and use it for classes, whatever you want to do, whenever you want to use it. And the gift cards that you'll get is when you buy an 880, you will get a $4,500 gift card.
Damn. I mean, excuse me.
What did Emily say?
Damn.
Well, I wish you guys could have seen Emily's face, because that was actually pure shock, and that was not scripted. She went off the cuff for that.
Emily wants an 880 at home really bad.
Yeah, so you'll get a $4,500 gift card for the 880. For the 790, you will get a $3,500 gift card.
Whoa.
And for either of the tool machines, even at the discounted rates that the tools come for the total package, you'll receive an additional $1,500 gift card for either the Tula 770 or the Tula 570.
We don't have very many of those left in stock.
I think we have less than 5.
We have less than 2, I think.
Okay, less than 2. We at least have one of each. I wish this was like QVC and you could see the little ticker saying, "Oh, we have one left." But
He really wanted to see if Brittany could implement that.
But I'm hoping that Brittany, our new marketing person, can create that. So I'm going to say we have 2. And oh wow, look, one's gone. And I'm gonna have her superimpose that at some point. But so those are and
Tell us just one more time.
Okay, So you are going to get a Stitch House gift card that can be used at any time. And for the $880, you'll get a $4,500 gift card. For the $790, you'll get a $3,500 gift card. For the Tula machines, either the 770 or the 770 or the 570, you will get a $1,500 gift card. So if you want more details or if you're interested, go ahead and call the store.
This sounds like a great time to buy like if you want to buy like a 570 as a travel machine, really good time to buy one of those. If you aren't a Bernina person yet, but you know that we love Bernina here at the store, this is a great way to get involved with your first Bernina purchase at the store, because help us help you.
If you already own another brand,
We'll come over here. If you already own another brand, but maybe you're thinking
group and ungroup is totally awesome.
it is awesome. Those little Moscow Mule. Did you see the little things that Emily did? Bring them back over here.
Oh, I've been watching.
Emily sews to relax herself, which I think is just really awesome. And so even after like really long days and hard days here, and as you can imagine, it gets a little crazy here, Emily goes home and does like cute stuff like this.
This is what I said, you know, this isn't finished yet because I knew I had to save some of my energy for all the work we're doing.
This is just beautiful.
But, Brian, wouldn't you settle with that?
Yeah, he totally would.
What, it's a nice texture.
It's nice texture.
What you didn't see on the back of this is she goes like this. Wouldn't you snuggle with that? Occasionally. So this is funny. I don't know how many of you saw us making the hand sanitizer when we were up in Michigan, but we had dozens of people who thought we were simply making to-go margaritas, including Emily, who actually had us on mute and were just watching the video.
No, Jessica sent me a picture and she said, we just made hand sanitizer. And I thought it was a joke because hand sanitizer is super critical right now, and so are margaritas. We're so stressed out. And I said, dang. I said that's life. I know.
There's vodka in this Starbucks.
I said that's life-saving.
If we get enough thumbs up, maybe Emily could do another napkin with our hand sanitizer on it. Margarita, if you're not too busy.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys.
Well, I hope I'm very busy. I hope we get a lot of calls because Bernina really has a special place in my heart. I love these machines. They do some really amazing things. So call us up and we can give you these great deals.
Yeah, I hope so too. And if you need any more clarification on it, these gift cards can be used anytime. So maybe even at time of purchase. Anyways, give us a call and we will talk with you real soon. Bye.